and welcome to the Space Viking Chronicles for the kids. I'm Margaret Krohn, and I will be your dungeon master today, as per usual. And of course, with me is a whole slew of amazing people who are also Space Vikings in here with me. We'll go around and have everyone say hello. I think my Zoom might be a little bit lagging here, so if our mouths are not synced up with what we're saying, I'm sorry. There's not much I can do on that front. But we'll go around first and have everyone introduce themselves and their characters a little bit, because you have seen all of these characters. No one's new on this episode, but it's been a while since we've seen some of them. So it'll be mostly Gaz is the one we haven't seen for a while. So this episode will be revolving around his character and what has been happening with Gaz. So we'll start things off. We'll go clockwise. This time we're starting off with you, Paladin Hulk. Tell us a little bit about you and, of course, about your character, Tover.
Hi everyone, I'm Paladin Hulk. I am a Twitch mod for Roll For It, Geek Space TV, and Random Tuesday. And I will be playing Tover, Elven Mage. And I'm in quite the pickle these days, having been cursed to lose my incredible good looks, which is just devastating. But don't worry, I've learned a spell to mask it. So we're all good. Also my sister's dead, but that's
Yeah, last episode he found out that his sister died. Yeah, that was actually I liked kind of the way that ended up happening. It was neat. So I gave that information to another player, and that player decided whether how they wanted to share that information with them. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was a wild magic thing. That's it. Really sad. But hey, it works. And of course, going down the line, is there anything else you wanted to share with people about your character?
Me? No.
Yeah. All right. Moving on over to the one, the only, Stan the Man.
Hello, Standalone, and I'm playing Boz, the half-orc paladin fighter, the orc in the Iron Mask, which I haven't actually done much with that storyline yet, but we're going into the forest at some point, so I'll be working on that later, I think.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into your background story as much, but I think because I've just been playing around with your character, and of course the Redeemers thing was really interesting, so I went down that line instead, because that was a more present and recent thing that was happening to your character.
Yeah, that was fun, and definitely took him in a direction I didn't expect, which has been really cool.
Yeah. Honestly, everyone's characters have been amazing. I just can't. It's been a lot of fun. And of course, moving on to our next person over here, we've got Fear the Boot, aka Gaz, aka Erwin. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well as your character.
Sure thing. Well, my character's name is Gaz. He is a half-orc barbarian, bear totem warrior. More jolly and easygoing than your average slathering, drooling half-orc barbarian, but not without a little bit of fight in him. The last time he was with the adventurers, he found a mysterious woman deep in her hidden lair who offered to train him in mysterious yet unknown ways, and he accepted. So I think, Maggie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of this game is going to go over where Gaz has been and what he's been doing, while the rest of the plot has been occurring. When I'm not playing RPGs, I'm on the Fear the Boot podcast, which you can find at feartheboot.com. We've been ranting about our tabletop gaming preferences since 2006, so we're old as hell, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, that's not that long. Let me tell you how long I've been ranting.
Internet.
And of course, last but not least, we have Endermancer, aka Tech PriestCon, aka Roxy. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well as the wonderful Roxy.
Hello, I'm Tech PriestCon. I'm pretty much like a residential lurker for the most part, and I'm playing Roxy, the Tiefling Cleric of Helm, who is having some interesting moments with another member named Uthal, and is also had a co-contract assignment with Gaz, so we'll see what that potentially entails, if she buggered up or not.
Exactly. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Roxy kind of just signed the contract, didn't even read it. I think both of them did. They didn't really read what was entailed in that contract at all. So we'll see if Roxy goes to find Gaz or if Gaz ends up finding them. I don't really know how.
To you, Gaz didn't read it because he can't read.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Gaz is like, I can't read.
Yeah, Gaz had assistants reading, and Roxy was just like, let's just go. Come on.
Well, Roxy had other reasonings. So the reason why they signed this contract all willy-nilly with no one knowing anything, I think for Gaz it was like he saw this old lady turn into a bear, and that to him is, I mean, the bear is kind of like your spirit animal, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and so I think for Roxy, she was more so really worried about Uthal, who was potentially dying, and the only cure, well, maybe not dying, becoming a werebear potentially. And so in order to cure him, she needed this potion, and this bear shaman had that potion. So that was kind of how it all happened. Now, this is your crew that you're going to be having today for today's campaign. But you as the viewer can also help out things, and we actually had a Mighty Rick who just donated $15, so we will see what happens with that. Mwahaha. But over to the right of me, you can see if you do ! St Jude, you can donate for a whole bunch of different incentives here. $5 gets you an inspiration. You can tell me who you'd like the inspiration to go to, or if you don't tell me, I will choose who it goes to. I usually leave it up to RNG. The same goes for the $10 Natty 1 or Natty 20. Make sure you let me know if it's Natty 1 or Natty 20 and who you'd like it to go to. Otherwise, I will decide. The third is the Wild Magic. This makes them have to roll a 1d 10,000 and something random and magical happens. It's usually not beneficial, let's put it that way. But sometimes it can be, you never know. That's how the dice rolls. So make sure you let me know who you'd like that to go to if you do provide one of those. $20 is a magic item. I usually pick the magic item. You can give me suggestions, but I always try to make sure that it fits the scenario and the world. So I usually tend to pick those, but you can kind of give me an idea of what you'd like, and then also note who you'd like it to go to. Otherwise, I will decide. And all of these things you can throw my way too, you know. You can give them to the DM, but it's more fun if you give them to the players, I think. $30 gets them a threat. So this doesn't always mean a monster will spawn, but in some cases it does. In other ways, it can mean I buff a monster, or a potential bar fight, or, you know, a whole slew of other things. Or, what was that one time? It was like weird slugs that ate at someone's skin. That was interesting and fun. But yeah, so all kinds of interesting things can happen. But I think that kind of wraps that up, and we'll go into what's going to happen today on today's episode. So for today, we come back to the town of Flippedville, which is a persistent world that continues to exist. We have a whole slew of characters who all come to this town, and they've all been drawn here because some weird things have been happening. Most of the townspeople have left and fled because there's been random magical weird anomalies happening. For instance, like lakes drying up, trees disappearing, actually fauna in general all disappearing. The roof of the inn at one point exploded. And fire elementals spawned from nowhere and started attacking the town. And Gargans, like a stampede of them, flew into town. But oddly, a dragon saved the town from it, it appears. There was a time where a T-Rex spawned in town, and a dragon actually came and saved them by taking the T-Rex to where no one knows. Our party was primarily looking at the main thing, which is the reason this all started, where there were children who slowly started going missing in the town. And this is where it all began. And last episode, we had a crew of people who went into the forest to figure out what had happened. They didn't make it that far. They made it roughly a day's journey and were stopped by a mage of some sort and a bunch of undead creatures and undead treants that came to life. They were able to slay them, other than the mage who got away. Seemed like she didn't... What was happening didn't seem to faze her as she left laughing, to cackling.
She
But today...
just laughs when she's scared.
Yeah, but today we are coming back to a whole new thing. We'll start off with Roxy. We have Roxy, who has been meeting new people in town and doing a lot of things for the church. Has just returned with armor and went with her friends to look for a dragon. Now the friend that was looking for the dragon disappeared after touching a door. Everyone else in the party tried to touch the door. In fact, one person tried to do something else with the door and cast a magical spell on it to unlock it. And this caused a whole tunnel to start caving in on them, and they had to flee. So Roxy, tell me what you did after that.
Probably after... She probably scolded Uthal a bit after doing that stunt. But pretty much after that, she's probably going back to her usual habit of just helping out around the town, occasionally going to the church and praying.
It. I get it. Because none.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just leave now. Bye, guys.
You go back to the town and go back to the church. And when you do so, Delilah is looking at you oddly as you come into the church. She's never given you that look before.
Is there something wrong?
She just kind of looks at you. I'm not sure yet.
Roxy's probably just like looking at her armor or something. It's like, is there something? Just trying to physically see if there's something wrong.
Yeah, you kind of are looking at yourself to see if something's wrong with you. And as far as you can tell, you look pretty much how you normally look, other than a bit, a bit of your armor is a little worn and tattered from some rocks flying into them. Part of you is a little sad that you weren't able to take any of that gold or the jewels that were in that cavern. It could have gone to good use. It could have gone to help this town. You look around at the church and there's so much of it that needs repairing. Because you don't steal things to just steal them for yourself, right?
No,
Why do you steal things?
She's a I guess if it makes sense, she's a klepto with a purpose. She doesn't steal because she wants them. She steals because she believes that that's the way to help out people of her faith. So, like, whether it be something small, like worth of value that she could give to the church or help people out, that's why she does it.
Yeah.
She doesn't do it for herself.
Basically steal from the bad people and give it to the good people, is how you see it.
Yeah.
But there aren't lines, are there? Not everyone's just good or bad.
Pretty much.
And I think that that's something that you're learning. She looks at you for a bit of time and you're kind of looking at your armor and, is something wrong with me? And she hands you a scroll. It looks like the seal has been ripped off already, so you can tell that someone has read it. It's clear that potentially she has read it from the way that she's looking at you.
Roxy will take the scroll and take a look at it.
The scroll is written from the Church of Helm, where you're from. What does it say? I think you know.
It's
about you.
Oh boy. It's probably something to do with finding out what Roxy may or may not have nicked from a certain someone.
What did you take?
It, ironically enough, is the necklace that she wears. It belonged probably to a higher member of the church, and she thought she could have better use for it.
Yeah.
So she probably
As she
one of the
reads it, she kind of goes, she's holding the scroll in one hand, and the other hand, she just kind of clasps the necklace in her neck. And we're going to pan over to Tover. Tover, I think you had a plan of what you wanted to be doing during this time frame.
Yes, because
From the
I
last,
need a place
while
to
the other
sleep.
people were finding a dragon, what were you doing?
well, clearly I'm not going to look for a dragon. That's stupid. So I went and found myself a place to sleep that wasn't like covered in ears, or maybe I would have to pay for. Because there's free houses all over this town. You know, they're all empty. Might need a bit of a fixer-up, but that's okay. That's why we have the mending. So I found myself a suitable home that was empty, and I really checked for like a couple of minutes, and then I just went on in.
Yeah. As you're looking around and checking to see, does someone own this? Does it look like anyone has lived here? You can see that recently it looks like someone had busted into this door. Looks like they did not bother to care for how they opened the door. They just kind of used pure strength to open this door and bash into it. Now, when you're looking at this, something happens. Roll me a 1d 10,000. This is coming from the Mighty Rick. So thank you, Mighty Rick, for the $15 donation. 1d 10,000. Ooh, 9458.
That's pretty high. Higher the better.
Oh, interesting. So I am just gonna paste this in chat for you. Oops. Because this will happen at some other point, but I want you to note that down. So the next weapon nearby to draw blood doubles in length until sunrise. So this will be whenever someone draws blood with a weapon near you, the first time they do.
The weapon doubles.
Roll me one more 1d 10,000, and this is from E-Man Gons. Paladin Hulk thinks he can handle everything thrown at him, but can Tover? I love it.
No, Tover really can't.
4, 5. All right. Oh my god.
Do I blow up?
All the alcohol in the town is 10 times more potent.
Hey! And they
So
say
next time y'all are in the inn drinking, there's gonna be some Constitution saves, because I don't think anyone... Basically, anytime y'all drink, we are doing Constitution saves.
You're welcome, everybody.
Oh boy.
Yeah, okay. Oddly, none of that affected you. You look around and it doesn't look like anybody has been here other than perhaps this one person. You're looking at the footprints. They're kind of large. Maybe orc sized, because they're larger than a human's. And it looks like somebody has done something with like the bedding area, like they've slept on it. But otherwise, everything in this building looks cobwebbed and dusty. You maybe like swipe your finger on one of the countertops and there's like this big chunk of like dust in your hand, and it's pretty nasty. And
Oh, that's
when you
gross.
try to wipe it off of there, it sticks to your hand a little bit.
Wipe it off, please. What am I, a peasant? Prestidigitation.
Yeah, you look at your finger and press digitation.
Please.
What's your plan here with this building?
Well, considering that someone else appears to be using it, if only recently, maybe there's a better prospect out there.
Okay,
I mean, right?
potentially.
This is apparently this orc fellow's home. No woman.
Roll me an investigation.
Can do.
Is the alcohol 10 times stronger to everyone or just to the party? To everyone, sit around. 3.
You know what? This town's big. Forget it. I'm just gonna, because my investigation's low.
When you look around with a 3, you think that no one lives here. Someone must have come in here, maybe just passed out and then left. That's all you think about it. It doesn't look like, from what you see, if someone was living here, they would probably have done something else in the room or gone in different spots. Like, it looks like someone just walked in, slept, and left. It doesn't look like they've traveled back and forth a ton.
Well, I check out the house to make sure it's livable. It's not going to collapse on me.
I mean, when you first walk into the house, it's like a cozy little living room. That's probably why someone just slept right there on that couch. If you walk further into it, there is a little kitchen area. And then as you walk to the back, it looks like a small room. And then to the right, as it kind of curves to the right, there's like a door there. And if you open the door, it takes a little bit of struggle to open it, but once you get it, it finally opens. And one of the spider webbings kind of creaks and the door makes a loud creaking noise. And you look in and it's a stable. Looks like it goes out to the stable that is back there. And you've seen the stable from the other side when you guys were out in the back.
3 horses. I mean...
There's no horses in the stables.
No?
It does look like
3
maybe
potential
something died
horses.
back there. But you didn't walk close enough to find that. Something smells bad. And there's some flies back there in one of the stalls. It
That
looks
is
like
the
it
first thing
houses
I would check
probably
out.
3 horses, 4 horses. On the inside. On the outside, it looks like there's probably a few more stable locations for other creatures. A little
I check
larger.
out the flies.
You check out the front of the house?
No, the flies.
You check out the flies. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go over there and it's like this horrid smell and there's like a lump of something. I guess either roll me an investigation or nature to see what this creature looks like.
That's my same skill.
Okay, the 10. It looks like maybe it's a dead pig.
Gross.
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
a trough.
Maybe we'll go find another house that doesn't have dead pigs around.
Potentially.
Yeah, this is a problem for another day.
Okay. So is your plan to find a different place then?
Yep, I create a little arrow pointing towards the dead pig and write "dead pig, please clean."
This is like, what's that game, Dark Souls, where you just leave a message for somebody else with the chalk?
Little soapstone.
Soapstone.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Tri-finger butthole.
Yeah. You just leave a dead pig. Yeah, you have a little arrow on the door and you write that on there. So if someone opens the door, they'll know there's a dead pig there, and you leave the room. We're gonna pan over as you close that door over the dead pig and turn around. You're like, well, I gotta find a new place. We see Baz as he's walking into the Church of Helm. Baz, as you're walking into the church, you see Roxy standing there. She has an interesting look on her face. Roxy, what does your face look like as you're looking down? She's holding the scroll in one hand and her hand is clasping her necklace.
Before reading the scroll, probably a bit confused.
Yeah, this is after you've read it.
After, probably a bit. What's the word I'm looking for? She probably has a small bit of panic on her face.
Okay, yeah, she looks like she has a small bit of panic on her face. You see Delilah walking away from her. She looks like she's walking back into the office room in the back left of the church. So you just see the back of her as she's walking that way.
All right. Yeah, he walks in and sees that look on Roxy's face and says, Roxy, is everything okay?
Hi, Baz. Yeah. fine. She's probably just like holding on to her necklace a bit, just kind of gripping it.
He just kind of nods, not really sure what's happening here.
So Roxy's kind of a bit of a loss for words right now. Like she wants to say something, but she's unsure what to do.
Yeah, does she kind of like go to open her mouth? Like she's like, and she just kind of closes her mouth like, I don't know what to, like, she's just not sure. It looks like she wants to say something, but she's just, nothing's coming out.
Pretty much.
And you can see that plain and simple, Baz.
Mm.
She's not hiding it, it seems. So.
Yeah, no. So, what are you doing here, Baz?
I've been helping her out around the church when I can.
Oh, yeah?
As of late, yes.
Oh, that's nice. This town definitely needs a bit of help.
Yes, it certainly does.
Yeah. I have to ask, you've been with Ardoff recently, right?
I have.
Has he seemed off to you?
Somewhat. I didn't know him especially well before, but something has changed with him.
It's just, yeah. Me and him had a bit of a talk, what was it, about a day ago?
Yeah, it was about a day ago.
Yeah. And something's up with him. He went somewhere, but he claims that it wasn't Helm's doing. And I don't know. I offered him help, but we may just have to pray for him at this point.
Perhaps.
Oh. But I guess at this point, Roxy's like kind of remembering a bit the thing that was wrote on the scroll, and she's just kind of backing out like she's trying to leave. Just like, I'm gonna see you later, Pass. Just kind of slowly.
Yeah,
leaves.
she awkwardly like swaps positions with you as you were kind of standing in the hallway towards the door, and you see her walk out the door.
Yeah, he nods and gives a farewell.
She nods back.
And as this interesting engagement happens, and you watch as Roxy oddly walks out the door, we're gonna pan over to Gaz.
Aha.
Where we left off with Gaz was there was darkness all around you as you were falling into this large hole in the center of the room where the bear shaman lady seemed like it was potentially her room. There was an interesting carpet on the floor, and this is actually where the hole came from. She like pulled the carpet up and a hole opened up and you went filing into it while your friends watched and walked away from you in the distance. And you could see up in the top of the hole your friend slowly walking away. You could see her standing there as a human in her human form, this old lady with a bonnet on that had flowers on it, similarly to her dress. It was one of those like old dresses with little flowers, and she had like 3 or 4 shawls on them that were scraggly looking. And there was something kind of like adorable old lady about her as she watched you look down, and slowly her face starts transforming into the face of a bear, and she just watches you fall. And the hole in the center of this ceiling that has this light, and you can kind of see the room, slowly fills with just the bear's face. And as you're falling, all you're seeing is the face of a bear. And as you look up at this face in the darkness as it surrounds you, what is Gaz thinking? You just signed a contract. You're falling. It just feels like you're falling. You have you don't know how far you're going to fall. You don't know if you're going to die once you hit the ground. You have no clue what's going on. All you see is this face of a bear.
Gaz begins to react spasmodically, reaching around for something to grab or at least try to get his feet under him. But he's just tumbling end over end.
You're
butt
rolling in
over
acrobatics
elbow.
as you're trying to or I'll allow athletics, one or the other, because it's either you're trying to be dexterous about it and like use the force of the flight to like help you grab onto something, or you're grasping. All right, athletics. Yeah, you're just going to grab at anything you can, and as you're doing this, you feel something like a branch, and you hold onto this branch, and like you can't see anything, and slowly the branch starts breaking, and you can hear it crackling as you're holding onto it. You can just feel your muscles just grasping. You grab it with your other hand, and you just hear it slowly crackling, and it breaks. You start falling again, and you're able to grab onto another piece. Maybe it's like dirt or something, but it feels like you're surrounded by roots. So you're just grabbing at these roots, and they're slowly breaking as you're falling down. And it feels almost like you're falling for days. The concept of time just kind of lapses you. You're not sure how long you've been falling. And slowly, you look around and you're not falling anymore. You're just laying there in a forest.
I will get up and look around and try to catch my bearings. See if I can see the sky, see how far I can see on the horizon.
Yeah. You look around and I guess roll me a survival or a nature. I'll take either of those.
Okay. Survival.
17. Nice. Yeah. You're looking around. It's like all the trees around you were built perfectly around you. You had your own little cubby nest here in the middle of the ground, and around you all these trees were built. And there's layers and layers and layers of trees, and they never seem to end. You look around, and in between them you can see the sun shining through, and it looks like the sun is shining through all directions of you. You look up, and it's like the canopy has like a sunlight coming through it, but from all directions. It's not like there's a direction that the sun is coming from. Something is odd about this. You feel like this isn't reality, that maybe something else is happening.
I look for some break in the trees that is not entirely uniform with the rest of them, and see if there's somewhere I can go.
Okay, roll me an investigation for that. You're really looking for a specific thing.
Yeah. Uh-oh, -1. Well, I did get a 20.
Nice. A natural 20. Which is weird because I guess you have a -1 to that.
Yes.
Yeah. You look around and you find that there are just these 2 trees. All the trees around you are perfectly in place, but there's these 2 trees. One of them slightly off. You walk over to it. You put your hand on the tree. And as you touch the tree to kind of like walk through, because you're trying to like push your way through, and you're a pretty large dude, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. There's not enough space
I'm not
for
tall, but
you.
I'm super
Yeah.
nice.
There's not a lot of space for you between these trees because it's almost like a cage of trees. But you go to push it, and it's almost like the tree just bends for you. And as you do this, you hear a voice. It sounds like it's all around you. And you hear the old lady. But she's speaking to you in like an animalistic talk. So it sounds more like a bear screaming at you, right? Because she's a bear. But I'm gonna talk in old lady speak because we as viewers and as people speak English. So I'm gonna talk like that. But what Gaz is hearing is the roaring of a bear talking to him. He hears, "Little cub, you want my teaching?"
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because you are clearly a friend of the spirit of the bear. And so am I. But you know much more than I. And so I must learn from you.
A child. A cub. Little cub. I will teach you, but only if you pass my trials. What say you?
I will face your trials.
Yes. Yes, you will. You will face these trials. We will see if you can pass them. Or if you do have the heart of the bear inside you. The spirit will guide you through life. It almost feels like you're getting smaller and tinier until you're a little bear. You're a tiny little bear cub. And now you can walk through these trees easily.
I plod on through them with my little bear called paws.
Yeah, you walk through. And what we see as the bear is plodding its way through all the trees in its tiny form, we see little bear paw prints in the ground. You can see him walking in the ground. Once the trees part and you're open in a clearing, you see a large creature. You're not really sure what it is, but it looks like it's attacking something else.
I barrel toward it to get a closer look.
Yeah, you rush forward to look at what this creature is, and as you make your way closer and closer, you see. Sorry, my boyfriend's yelling in the background.
Right.
My cat apparently did something. You see a little bear backing up slowly away, and there's this large. You're not really sure what it is. It looks like a monster almost.
And what is it attacking?
A little bear.
Oh, then I jump in to place myself between the little bear and the monster. And
as you
snarl
jump
in
forward and place yourself in front of the little bear and you snarl, slowly you feel your hands change and transform, and now you're back to yourself. And you stand there. And the creature, it looks almost like a bear, but it looks mangled, and you can see skin on it torn and ripped, and it looks like parts of it have like spikes, but the spikes are made out of bone. Something is definitely not natural about this creature.
I must put it out of its misery.
So you're going to initiate combat. Roll me initiative.
Rather than attacking it as such, I don't know if this affects the initiative calculation, I'm first going to try to intimidate it into leaving.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just using a black bear as an example for this, but it's not actually a black bear, but just so you know.
Got it.
All right. And it gets a 19 initiative. And yeah, so this bear is going to come barreling at you first. And it is going to bite and then claw you. Does a 13 hit?
It does not.
And does a 20 hit?
20 does.
All right. I'm going to claw you for 8 slashing damage. Mark that on your sheet. And then it is your turn.
All right. It is sadly too late to defuse this with a well-placed roar, so I'm going to fly into a rage and double tap this thing with my great axe. If I have it. Did I get all my stuff back?
Yeah, you have all your stuff with you.
Okay, cool. Rah! I rolled a 16 and a 17.
Oh yeah, both of those hit.
All right, fantastic. And I did 21 damage in 2 strokes.
Nice. Yeah, you go forward with it, and what does it look like as you're like taking your great axe at this large undead-looking bear?
Well, my first stroke lands hard straight onto the top of its head. I'm going for an instant kill shot since this thing is obviously trying to kill me first. My second stroke is a bit more glancing. It rips across the bear's forward lumbering shoulder muscle, and then I sort of slink into an evasive position for the follow-up. And actually, I didn't put my rage on this calculator, so it's 30 or 25 damage, not 21.
All right, yeah, make sure you add that in there too. Oh, 25 damage?
Yeah.
All right, we'll add that in there. And yeah, as you hit it in the head, it snarls, and you hear this grumbling of a bear. And it backs up a little bit. And as it backs up, you slice its shoulder blade, and part of its shoulder kind of moves.
Magical trials are difficult when you roll a natural 1.
Nice. And it looks like you have a natty 1, so your next roll will be a natural 1. So make sure you keep that. Thank you, Paladin Hulk. It says magical trials are difficult when you roll a natural 1. And it snarls and it backs up again as you do that. Now the little bear that's standing behind you is going to like back up and then kind of look to the side, and it's just watching. It looks frightened, but it's just kind of standing there and watching. And the black bear, or the undead bear creature, is going to attack you once more. Again with a bite and a claw. And the claw hits. So 7 more slashing damage.
Okay, that will be reduced to 4 because of my rage.
Nice.
All right, I will retort with another double stroke of my axe, the first of which will miss horribly,
Natty
which
1.
we already know.
Yep.
And the second of which will probably
25.
hit. Okay, since I do not have my rage hard-coded into this macro, I'll just roll it myself. 17 damage.
Yeah, just add it in there on your sheet. It's really easy to add. All right, 17. Oh. Yeah, you slice into this creature. But as you do so, the first swing you went into with, it gets a chance to bite at you as you do this. And unfortunately, the bite is not able to do much. And you're able to slice back with another hit. And you actually hit the bear in the head again, or the undead bear creature in the head. And its head is like barely hanging on by its limbs, by its like tendrils down there. And blood is kind of gushing everywhere out of the neck of this bear. It looks
my first stroke
pretty
was
bad.
this horrible wide slice, and I don't understand why. It's just like I was feeling the spirit of the bear, and then whoom, way over its head. Barely recovered.
Mad bear creature. A mangled bear. Ooh, yeah, it's a mangled bear now. And it is the bear's turn. The bear is going to bite and claw you again. An 18 hit?
Those are both hits. Yes, that's correct.
All right. It's going to hit you for 6 and 5, which I think you have that, so you only take 5 damage, right?
That's correct.
Yes. And it is your turn.
Unless he can do psychic damage or this combat lasts longer than a minute, I will be taking half all throughout. All right, I will try to finish the job with 2 more swings of my great axe.
Sorry, my cat is going nuts in the background. The 10 does not hit, the 18 does hit.
Okay. And there's a 17 damage strike.
All right. And tell us how you kill this bear.
The pattern I've been reaching with ducking and slashing into its head, I just abandoned in that last near simultaneous exchange of blows. I commit to just eating the teeth and the claws straight to the face so that I can land the perfect headshot and finish this thing off. So through the haze of my rage and the stabbing pain of this thing's natural weapons, my gamble pays off when my axe finds true and just lays the thing out into a clump of undead bear fur.
Yeah, and as your axe is stuck in this body of this undead bear, you slowly start pulling your axe out, and as you do, it's almost like an energy seeps out of this creature and it swirls around your axe, and it looks like the spirit of a bear. You see like this bear spirit kind of swirling around your axe, and as it swirls up and around you, you slowly feel like you're getting smaller and smaller until you're size of about a young bear. Not a tiny bear cub like you were before, but like, you know, a young bear. And you turn to look at the small bear cub, and it comes rushing towards you.
I'll do the speak with animals commune if I can while I'm in my bear form, unless I can just talk to it because we're both magic bears now. And say, "You're safe, little one. What is your name? Mine is Gaz."
It doesn't say its name. It doesn't talk to you. It just kind of nuzzles you, and it keeps going around you and nuzzling you, and then it walks away a little bit, looks at you, and it kind of moves its head and points in a direction. And you see it kind of guiding you, it looks like.
I nuzzle it back and then slowly rumble on behind it, following it.
Okay. And as you're walking into the forest, and you're following this bear, the little bear slowly disappears. You're looking for it. You look around, and you're not in that forest anymore. You're falling again in the darkness, in that hole. And you're clawing your way as a bear looking around. And you hear a voice around you that says, "You may be strong, but strength is not always the answer." And it just echoes around you as you continue to fall. And we're going to pan out to Baz, as Baz just watches Roxy walk away from him.
All right. He's a little confused by that encounter. Probably waits for someone to come back into the room, like Delilah or her sister, or whoever.
Yeah. After you wait a while, like, what are you doing while you're waiting for someone to come out?
Maybe he's looking through some kind of religious text that he had borrowed. Maybe he was returning that. So
Yeah.
maybe he's just like revising a little bit of that, or revisiting.
Yeah, you're looking at the book that you borrowed, and you're every once in a while like looking back at the shelf. You're like, maybe I could put it back, but you're not really sure where it belongs. It looks like there's some kind of organization here, and you didn't hear anybody walking behind you because you were kind of looking into your book and concentrating on that. And you feel a light tap on your shoulder.
He takes his attention from the book and looks back.
It's Delilah. She's standing there and she's like, "Oh, you came back."
He smiles and stands up and turns to her. Yes, I came to bring this back.
You read it.
I did.
And what are your thoughts?
I feel as though I think a lot of it did go over my head, but I did find it enlightening.
She kind of takes the book from you, and you see her flip through the book and open it too. It's almost like she knew exactly where the page was. And she turns the book back towards you. And she says, "This story And she puts her hand on it. Reminds me of you. Maybe read it again.
He smiles and looks at it and looks back at her.
But maybe this time, imagine if you were in Talus's place.
I will do this.
Sometimes we have to imagine ourselves in someone else's shoes to really understand why they do the things they do.
Yeah, so makes sense.
You see her kind of glance over at the door, and she has like an interesting look on her face, and then she looks back at you and smiles, and it looks like she's kind of forcing a smile.
Is there a problem? There's been a heavy air since I entered here. Roxy seemed on edge.
You kind of take a deep breath, and then she looks like she's holding it, and she's nothing. Everything's fine. But you can tell that she's saying that, and it's not fine. Everything's not fine. Everyone keeps saying it's fine, but clearly something's not okay.
Well, I'll take your word for it. Gives her kind of a small smile.
Yeah, when you say I'll take your word for it, there's a part of her that she knows she lied. And she looks up at the stained glass window and down onto the ornate place of worship and looks back at you. I don't know if everything's fine, actually.
What's the matter?
Perhaps Roxy should tell you. And she puts her hand onto yours as you're holding the book and kind of clasps your hand on the book. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And she you just feel like this light. And it's kind of cold. Her hand, it feels like she's maybe a little bit chilly. And she says, she could probably use a friend.
He nods, and sometimes we all do, don't we?
And she nods and lets go of your hand. Kind of backs up so that you can stand up if you wanted.
Yeah, he does. Well, maybe I should go now then.
All right. I'll see you again.
It was good to see you, Delilah.
She kind of smiles and kind of lowers her head and kind of walks away. You catch that she's blushing because she's very pale skin, and she walks away. I don't know how long you stay and watch her as she walks away, but I'm assuming you're going to leave the church and go look for Roxy.
Yeah.
All right. Roxy, where'd you go after you left the church? Hasn't been that long.
She's probably making her way just back to the end, just go back into her room. Probably
Okay.
One of the only other places she feels is probably best for her to go.
Yeah, you kind of follow the trail of Roxy. You probably assume that she's going back to the inn, and you're able to kind of hastily make your way. And you catch Roxy just as she's walking down the hallway towards the rooms in the inn, past the tables. So you could shout at her to make her stop or run, but there's people in the way because they're, mulling about in the main area near the hearth.
Yeah, he probably calls out, Roxy.
she'll probably have like that moment of just like she probably like jumps a little and
yeah.
then turns around.
Yeah, she jumps
Just-
and she turns and looks, and you see Baz.
Hi, Baz? What's the matter?
Nothing is the matter. I would like to talk if you have the time.
Oh, yeah.
Probably waves her over, and I guess we try to find like a table that's kind of away from everyone.
Yeah, Roxy, I guess will follow. See if probably sit across from him if possible. So, what is it you want to talk about?
Roxy, have I told you where this came from? He puts his hand on his mask.
Can't say that you have.
I am a criminal, Roxy. A traitor.
Who is it that you betrayed?
My lords. I was a soldier. A leader. My greatest betrayal was to those that I led. I failed them. Most of them lost their lives because of a decision that I made. You saw the sword that I carried. That I still carry. He has it like attached to his backpack, but doesn't really use it usually.
Okay. Yeah, she probably would have noticed.
Yeah. That was to be the sword of my execution.
Keep it as a reminder.
Yes. I only escaped that fate because of the happenings in this town. I was sent here to retrieve something from the cursed forest.
What were you supposed to retrieve?
One of the nobles of of the Rose Court.
As
They
you say
went-
that, as you say the word, one of the nobles, Topher walks in to the inn.
Did someone say noble?
Topher, you've met Baz before, so you see him speaking with a tiefling woman who looks as though she's wearing cleric robes and armor.
Oh, a cleric, that's handy. Maybe she can dispel this cracked skin I've got.
Maybe. Did you go over to the table where Baz is, or?
I do.
All right, you're all in the middle of this conversation, and Baz, finish your sentence about the noble, and then I'll let you walk in wherever you want, Topher.
The noble, he carried a weapon of his family, a weapon that was a symbol to the Rose Court, the Rose Thorn, a rare blade. I was sent to, if not retrieve him, then to at least retrieve the blade.